Hi friends, if you're considering a move to Salt Lake City, Utah, but you desire the convenience of city living and you also want the charm of a small town, this video series is for you. Today we're going to start with North Salt Lake, and we're going to explore several cities in this series along the way that are all within 30 minutes of a drive to downtown Salt Lake City, and they're also within 60 minutes of indoor and outdoor exciting opportunities. In this video, we're going to uncover the pros and cons of North Salt Lake City. Today, we're going to focus on the west side of North Salt Lake City. If you stick around until the end, you're going to get a glimpse into everyday life in this community. You're going to know how it feels to live there, the lifestyle, and what you can expect. I will include some video footage that you won't want to miss at the end of this video. Welcome to beautiful North Salt Lake City, Utah, a place that has its own unique charm. I'm going to guide you through the highs and the lows, the ins and the outs of this wonderful city. So grab a cozy seat and let's dive into the 9 top pros and cons of living in the city called North Salt Lake. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about living in Salt Lake City, Utah, then subscribe below and tap the bell for notifications so you'll be the first to know all the juicy details about Salt Lake City, Utah, how we live, the lifestyle. My name's Janet and I am with Living in Salt Lake City, Utah. We get calls and emails every day from people just like you wanting to make a move to Salt Lake City, Utah and the surrounding suburbs. And we absolutely love it. Whatever we can do to help you make your move, whether you're moving in 9 days, 90 days, or a year, let's talk. Send me an email, give me a call, send me a text. Let's figure out which of these fun suburbs is the right fit for you. We can help you make a smooth transaction to Salt Lake City, Utah, and the surrounding areas. One of my favorite things about North Salt Lake City is a convenient location. I feel like I have everything right close. I can get all the way north to North Ogden, and I can get all the way south to Provo in less than an hour. This is especially important to me as I do real estate because it helps me so that I can serve the entire Wasatch Front, which is the main living area in Utah. I-15 is the main interstate that runs north and south in Utah. So this connects all of Utah with the neighboring cities. So Nevada and Arizona to the south and Idaho to the north. If you want to take a quick trip to Vegas, you just jump in the car and it's only a 6-hour ride. Also, if you want to go to Disneyland, it'll take you about 10 hours. Just know that with this convenient location, you're going to become your family and friends' best friend when it comes for a quick ride to and from the airport and some free car storage. This is my parents' favorite trick. They always want to know, hey, what you doing on Tuesday morning? Because that way we can get them to and from the airport very quickly, and they don't have to pay for car storage. In today's video, I want to stay focused on the pros and cons of North Salt Lake City. So I'm just going to add that there are a large number of options to get you wherever you want to go. In my map video for North Salt Lake City, I'm going to show you where each of these flow and how these main fairways run into each other and give you some options and insight into how these will best suit your traveling needs. Another thing that I love about North Salt Lake City are the trails that run throughout the neighborhoods. You can bike, you can rollerblade, you can run, you can do basically all the things that you want to do along these trails. The neighborhood trails are linked to a larger trail. Again, I'm going to save the ins and outs and the details about that for another video. Part of the drama that kept North Salt Lake City on the west side from building residential homes was the fact that there are wetlands that they wanted to preserve. They talked about protecting the wildlife, and I think what they were referring to are the raccoons, the mice, the ducks, the skunks, and the deer in the area. It wasn't until 2003 that they finally started to build in the area. But the deal was if they were going to have a residential properties, they had to preserve a certain percent for the natural beauty and the wetlands. So we get the opportunity to enjoy mini parks and trails throughout the neighborhood. One of the things that I always forget about Utah is the amazing scenery. We have the best views. With those mountains as a backdrop, I have seen some of the most phenomenal sunsets and sunrises you can ever imagine. Just know that if you are an outdoor enthusiast, there are countless opportunities for you here in Utah. I will go into more detail of these hidden gems for your hiking, biking, skiing, paddleboarding, boarding, adventure needs in other videos. One of the things that I love about this area is indeed all of the memories that I have with my children as they grew up. When we moved into the area, I had a 6-year-old and a 7-year-old, and I was a single mom. And it was my absolute dream to be a homeowner. And it was such an amazing accomplishment for me that I never forgot how lucky I felt to have that home and the opportunity for my kids to play in the area. We would run to the park whenever we could. I taught them how to ride their bike. My little boy and his little cheeks just shaking as he was going on his bike with his little training wheels. And my daughter, who learned to love to skate in the area. There's so many adventures awaiting you. Another pro to living in North Salt Lake City is the friendly community. As you can imagine, with so many invitations to play outdoors, you'll find yourself connecting with other locals. You'll quickly find yourself surrounded by neighbors who feel like family. I am one of the first people to have built in the area. I was one of the first 30 members of the community, which started in 2003. Now there are over 6,200 residents in the neighborhood. In the beginning, we came together to create a neighborhood watch. It was such a comforting feeling to know that we had each other's back. If there was ever anything suspicious going on in the neighborhood that we needed to talk about, we would come together as a neighborhood watch. That's still in effect today. One of the fun things that we love to do in the area, there are fun community activities such as the Food Truck Mondays. When weather permits, they have at the little local park where they have the splash pad, different food trucks every Monday. It's a great opportunity to go over and spend some time eating and visiting with your neighbors. It fosters a great sense of community and it gives us a chance to get to know each other better. Another popular yearly activity is a fireworks show for the 4th of July in Eaglewood. It's called the Eaglewood Liberty Fest, and people from around the community, surrounding areas always come flooding into the area to see the great show. So one of the interesting things about the area here is it became so popular so quickly, and they were building a little bit smaller homes. So many of us, in fact, there are 14 of my friends that I know, we actually started with a small starter home, and then we actually built several years later a slightly larger home in the same area, only just walking distance from each other. So as you can tell, the area is very popular. I thought it'd be fun to share with you how I ended up in North Salt Lake City. So my children were little, and it was about 2003, and they were taking swim lessons, and I met a really nice lady whose children were in swim lessons too. Well, we became friends, and she started to go on and on about how she was building a house, and I had been just dying to get into a house. So the more she talked about this little area where she was building, the more interested I got. I ended up, for my birthday that year, taking myself to the model home and actually putting a deposit down to be one of the first to build a home in the area. And I couldn't be more happy with my decision. I have absolutely loved raising my children in the area. So since we live here, and we've lived here since 2003, I do have a lot of insight, and we love to play. We love to find fun things to do, delicious food to eat. So I'm going to share with you some amazing hidden gems as we move forward in not only this series with North Salt Lake, but the surrounding cities as well. So I'm excited to get to know you better and share some of the fun things that we do and what we love about Utah and where we live. So something that I absolutely love about the area that attracted me to the area is the fact that in North Salt Lake on the west side, you're going to get a much bigger home, bigger bang for your buck, and they're newer. So in 2003, when I was looking, there was a lot of new construction available. So that meant that my options on the west side gave me bigger closet spaces, the opportunity to have a third car garage, and even add RV parking. And I liked the sizes of the yards as well. So that's a bonus about living on the west side. Although at this point, if you want something bigger than 3,500 square feet, you are going to have to move into a little bit different section. So you're either going to have to go down the road to Woods Cross or up the hill to North Salt Lake on the east side, or even Bountiful on the east side. West Bountiful here on the west side also offers some larger land lots and bigger houses as well. But I'll get to that in another video. Something else that was really interesting about this side is that in the beginning, there was lots of brand new first-time home buyers, and the area was just buzzing with babies and children and young energy. As the area has grown in popularity, as the prices have gone up and affordability has gone down, we've noticed that there's a shift. So there's a lot more teenagers. There are also a lot of couples in the area that are looking for that single level living. So there are some great homes that suit their needs as well. So you're getting a lot more variety in age group in the area. But the one thing that hasn't changed is that community feel, that unity that you get when you come to this area. So I'm more specifically kind of focusing on Foxborough because that is the neighborhood. There's north and south, and that is the biggest neighborhood that's on the west side in North Salt Lake City. Something that I loved about this area is that Woodside was the builder. It started in 2003 is when they started taking contracts. I feel like they did a great job with a master plan to mix in single family homes as well as townhomes, do a variety of different sizes and different sections of the neighborhood. One side of the neighborhood has a small HOA in the north where you can have access to a pool and a clubhouse and some fun amenities. But sprinkled throughout the entire neighborhood, whether you have the HOA or not, you will have access to the walkways and the trails and all of the little parks that are sprinkled in the area. So that's another great thing about the community. Another pro or great thing about the area are the schools. Davis County School District ranks above average. There are a lot of good things about the schools in the area. Along with having your public schools, you also have a variety of charter schools within just minutes of the west side North Salt Lake boundaries, that Foxborough community that I was referring to. They have Foxborough Elementary, which services kindergarten all the way to 6th grade, and they coordinate with Odyssey Elementary to do a French immersion program. You also have the option for elementary age, which again, kindergarten to 6th grade, just in the neighborhood itself, Wasatch Peak. They do 30 minutes a day of Spanish, and then they also teach through service projects, which is a really fun way for kids to learn. They also have a lot of advanced programs there. The other option for a charter school is Legacy Preparatory Academy. And although it's located in Woods Cross, it's just minutes from the neighborhood. It just borders North Salt Lake. And they not only have your elementary, which is kindergarten all the way to 6th grade, they also have a junior high right next door that services that 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. Legacy Preparatory Academy focuses on the arts. They're going to give your children experience with phenomenal art classes and projects, and a lot of their school unity group activities have to do around the art. In the summer, they have intensives for different theater classes sometimes, and definitely during the school year, you can have your children involved in the theater program. They do some great productions. They also have instruments that they introduce the children to. Your child can play an instrument, be a part of the band, or play a strings instrument as well. So they also have top-notch dance teams with great options for musical instruments, like I was saying. And in case you didn't know, charter schools are actually done by a lottery. So that is one thing that's a little bit difficult, is that it's not a guarantee if you want your child to go to that school. They do have to get into the lottery. So my daughter is currently at Legacy Preparatory Academy, and she is in the junior high side. She has been there since kindergarten, and some of the things that we've really enjoyed and been able to take advantage of are the theater program. She did that. There was a summer one. It was kind of related to school. It was not through the school, but it was a blast. She really loved the opportunity to learn to kind of do some dancing, singing, and she even had a speaking part. And she also learned how to play the violin. And currently she's part of the dance company and the competition ballroom team. So we rather enjoy the school and have found that it's a great option for her. But every child has a different fit, and the good thing about this area is that you have a large number of options. There are many things that you can do that'll suit your child's need. The interesting thing about our area is that for the majority of the children, they're going to be bused to Mueller Park Junior High, which is in Bountiful. It's about a 20-minute ride from here. Also, for high school, the children will be bused to Bountiful High. The good thing about those schools is that they have phenomenal, above average competition teams. They have different sports teams. They have theater classes. There are so many great activities that the school offers that there's many options for your child to enjoy while attending school. And again, Davis County is ranked above average, so their test scores will be good, and I think you're really going to enjoy the schools in the area. So just a fun little story. My oldest daughter went to Bountiful High School, and one day she got to school and there was inversion all over, kind of settled on the valley. Well, a lot of her friends live up on the hill, so they live a little bit above it. So they were complaining and they were like, oh my gosh, did you see like the egg this morning? And and they're like, ew, gross. And my daughter was like, I really don't know what you're talking about. And then all of a sudden she goes, I live in it. So, there's the truth of the matter. Like sometimes that egg will sit down on the valley down in North Salt Lake. But if you live up on the hill, up higher in North Salt Lake on the east side, or up on the mountain in Bountiful, you might be able to avoid it. So just as a suggestion, if that's a really big deal for you and you have some health concerns, you might want to be the one who's up on the mountain looking down on the valley. So one thing that I really don't enjoy about living on the west side over here are the railroad tracks. And like I mentioned with the schooling, the children are bused into Bountiful for schools. And the majority of like my children's sports activities, dance activities, even just hanging out with friends, you end up doing a lot of back and forth between North Salt Lake and Bountiful, North Salt Lake and Woods Cross, like within the area. So there are these railroad tracks and it is not a set schedule, and so many times you'll be headed somewhere and unfortunately you will be stuck and you don't know if it's like 30 seconds, if it's a real quick like commuter train that's coming by, or if it's the slow like, I don't know, like they come and then they're like beep, 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 and they back up and then they go. So every once in a while you do get stuck by a train. This is not my favorite thing. There are ways like using the freeway to go around that, but it does cost you some extra time. So that is something that I would let you know about, because it is something that has been frustrated living in the west side of North Salt Lake. So this con is actually general to Utah. It's not specific to North Salt Lake, but there are some things about North Salt Lake that do make it a little bit worse, and that is air quality. So unfortunately, with the beautiful mountains that we have, they do cause pollutants to get built up and kind of trapped. The good news is a good storm can come along and help clear that. But the bad news is that if you suffer from asthma or if you have allergies, you're probably going to have a little bit more difficulty and need to find some good solutions to that. In North Salt Lake, there are two companies. There's West Oil and Chevron that both have their home base in North Salt Lake, and that does add to the pollution problem. So that is something that you might want to be aware of if you have really bad allergies or suffer from asthma, because that, again, it's a Utah problem, but there are some things in North Salt Lake that does seem to make it just a little bit worse. So be aware that the air quality is not the best. Okay, so the biggest con that I want to address, kind of the elephant in the room, is the fact that there is limited availability of houses in North Salt Lake on the west side. There currently are not really any great new build subdivisions that you can jump into, and over 70% of current homeowners are locked in at less than 4%, making it not so juicy for them or enticing for them to make a move. So obviously we're talking about an affordability program along with supply and demand. So not only do we not have enough houses for the buyers, we also have like prices that are going up, Utah actually keeps moving up in the ranks. Currently, Utah is number 8 overall in the United States for the most expensive homes. It is getting a little bit more challenging to live in Utah. There's so many pros, there are so many reasons why you want to, but it is getting a little bit more difficult with the competition and affordability to be able to buy in Utah. So Utah is actually 3 times higher than the national average when it comes to median price. And the average buyer, first-time buyer, is between the age of 30 and 40. Here in Utah, this is the millennials, and here in Utah, we actually have 10.5% of our population that's coming into that buying age. And by 2028 and 2029, we're gonna have Gen Z entering right on their tails. We also have a much higher number of Gen Zers along with those millennials. So things are gonna get a little wild, wild west around here. You're gonna have competition between your first-time buyers and your boomers, which are your ones who wanna move down. So like in addressing this neighborhood, I talked about that they have single level living, which is more affordable for your first time buyer. But guess what? That's what a boomer wants to sell their big house, and they want to move into one where they just have single level living. So if you're a first time buyer and you're competing against a retired couple, if they have full cash, it's going to be difficult to make that competition. But regardless of that conflict that's coming, we can find solutions. We can find ways to get you into a home, because we know that wealth building is a huge, big deal. And the number one way to build wealth is through home ownership. In fact, a homeowner is currently worth $396,000, and a renter, their net worth is only $10,000. So I would love to see everybody be a homeowner, because it is the best solution for everyone to be able to move towards building towards their future. So even though the cost of living is slightly higher compared to the national average, especially when it comes to housing, Utah is a phenomenal place to call home. So there you have it, folks, the top 9 pros and cons of living in North Salt Lake City, Utah. It is a city that radiates warmth and offers a little bit of everything. Whether you're drawn to the outdoor adventures, the friendly community, or the cultural experience, North Salt Lake City has something for everyone. So if you're ready to embrace the family-friendly vibes and the stunning landscapes, it might just be the perfect place for you to call home. Happy exploring.